Well, thank you very much for your time and attention this morning. My name is Jeremy Lawson. I'm from Clarivate Analytics, normally based in London. So it's a real pleasure to be here, as always, in Paris and escape some of the craziness of the United Kingdom right now. So it's very pleasing to be here. For those of you who maybe don't know the Clarivate brand, we used to be part of a company called Thomson Reuters. Not the same Thomson as Thomson CSF, but Thomson Reuters, the information company. And we're the world's leading information provider when it comes to helping companies and universities and governments make better decisions about research and development and about intellectual property. I'm also delighted to say that Clarivate became a public company just this last Tuesday. So we're now listed on the New York Stock Exchange as Clarivate. So let us think for a moment about innovation. Thomas Edison, the famous American inventor, is sometimes referred to as the father of innovation. He was responsible for many important inventions, as you probably know, in the areas of electric power generation, in the areas of mass communication, and also sound recording. He had a great intellectual curiosity, but he was also very mindful about intellectual property. And in fact, inventing was his livelihood. It was his way of life. And he used the patent system to great effect to actually make good monetary returns from his ideas. And today's top innovators like Thales are trying to strike the same balance between really giving that benefit to society and also trying to improve their profitability. Now, I didn't order the astronaut who has just appeared on the left-hand side, but it's very appropriate as we look at this slide, because innovation is nothing new at Thales. In its over 100-year history, the company has made some great innovations. And Patrice Caine has been quoted as saying, Thales is one of the few companies in the world with the capability to really push boundaries. And one example is this Earth observation satellite developed by Thales Alenia Space Division. Now, these satellites monitor our changing environment every day. As we know, the climate change continues to threaten our planet, and the images and data sent back help scientists to plan ahead and also provides very important immediate information to emergency services to help them deal with natural disasters and also local communities who may be affected by catastrophes. Everyone is talking about AI these days, artificial intelligence, and Marco just gave a great presentation about it. Now, we don't see AI as a core technology. We see it as an enabling technology. It allows innovators to ideate and innovate new application domains. And Thales itself is innovating very fast around AI, as you've heard. And another example of that is working with governments, including the government in Switzerland, to help them anticipate national security threats. So those are just two examples of innovation at Thales. But just for one moment, let's think about the bigger research ecosystem. It's an incredibly exciting but very, very complex research ecosystem that we work in today. If you just look at the announcements that Thales has made in the last few weeks, it includes doing business in growth economies with all the risks and challenges that that provides. It includes making bold investments to reinforce core research capabilities. It includes making acquisitions in adjacent and emerging growth sectors, such as digital security and identity. It includes working with multiple organizations, with startups, with universities, with corporations, in order to push those boundaries of research that we talked about earlier. It also includes fostering startup companies and pushing forward an open innovation strategy. And last, but certainly not least, it includes collaboration with academic institutions around the world. So, what are the Derwent Top 100 Global Innovator Awards? So I mentioned Clarivate earlier. That's our company brand. Derwent is a business unit within Clarivate, and it's essentially our patent data business. As Marco mentioned earlier, data is the deal breaker. And without great data, you can't do good analysis and make good decisions. And every year, and this is the 8th year that we've been doing it, we announce the top 100 global innovators. And it's a very, very exclusive group of companies. And it's companies that have demonstrated a really high quality of innovation over a sustained period of time. And I'm very pleased to say that that group includes Thales. And it includes Thales for the 6th time in 8 years, and for the 4th time in a row. And before I bring Marco onto the stage to congratulate him and his entire team on this fantastic achievement, I just want to explain very briefly, how do we decide who goes into this top 100 list? Well, first of all, we have access to 3 very, very important patent databases, which we have been curating for more than 50 years. This basically allows you to interrogate all of the granted patents that have ever been filed and ever been published in the world. So it's pretty extensive. And what we do is we take that information and we apply 4 measures to it. A volume measure, a success measure, a globalization measure, and an influence measure. Now, what do these mean? There's a lot of detail here, so I won't go into all the detail, but volume is really a way to get into the game. If you are an organization who has filed more than 100 patents in the preceding 5 years, you get to play in the next 3 metrics. Success is a measure of quality. Success is basically the proportion of patents that are filed to the number of patents that actually get granted. And then you have globalization and influence. These are impact measures. Globalization is how relevant globally are your patented inventions at Thales. And influence is a very interesting measure. This measures impact in the sense of which other organizations are citing your patents when they're making their own applications, okay? So we take a very complex algorithm of all these things, mix it all up, and we come up with our top 100 list. One point on the Thales analysis that's worth pointing out is, as you look at those 3 metrics I just mentioned, success, globalization, and influence, you'll see a very large spike in 2014. So the innovation at Thales has really leapt forward in terms of influence and impact and success rate in the last 4 years. And that's one of the reasons why I'm very, very pleased to say that for the 4th year running, Thales is one of the Derwent top 100 global innovators, and I'd like to say a big congratulations to Marco Ehrman and his entire team and welcome him here on the stage to accept the award. Marco.
Bravo! Well done. Wow, bravo. Well done, guys.
Thank you so much. Let me just say in a few sentences the thank you. You did present Thales in such a marvelous way. I don't need to add many things. But I can tell you that we have not yet decoded the algo that you are using for the winner. So in a way, it's a surprise every year when we receive the award. And we are never sure that we will receive it. So we are actually quite anxious. You make our life miserable just before the announcement to see if we are in. So I cannot tell you the proudness of the teams to be part of this prestigious award, which we are happy to promote and show on our, Hall of the Fame list. So thank you very much. I'm glad to see that 2014 is a special year, because I can still remember a few of the actions we did around that time. So it rings the bell. Very glad to. I must say that this year is also a cornerstone of Thales adventure, because it's the year that we actually are have integrated both Gemalto, the big company that I guess you mentioned briefly. This is changing the panorama of the group, extending very strongly. We are adding 3,000 people in research and development to our 25,000. So today we are kind of coming closer to 30,000 engineers and researchers in the group, which is quite a tremendous power for innovation. We also actually have, well, I know this is only one of the 4 criteria, but we have increased considerably the number of the patents. So now we are reaching 20,500 patents in the group. And of course, this is not the end of the story. For us, this is a first step in a new adventure. So even though I'm not sure what will happen next year, but I will be so glad for my colleagues that the story continues with you. But thank you so much. Thank you.